In Columbus, Ohio, the community is outraged as the decision of prosecutors to drop charges against 36-year-old white convicted criminal Craig Butler has sparked outrage. As many of you who have followed this story will know, in October, Craig Butler Sr. shot and killed 13-year-old Sinzae Reed, then fled the scene in his vehicle. Of course, there were eyewitnesses. There was video of this taking place. Initially, Mr. Butler was charged with murder in the case. However, on October 19th, without giving a reason, the prosecutor decided to drop the charges against Mr. Butler. Now, of course, there is no statute of limitations for murder charges, so the prosecution has time to refile these charges if necessary. There is a federal investigation potentially into the case. Has not been announced by the Justice Department yet for a violation of the civil rights of Mr. Reed. To talk a little more about this case, we're joined by the mother of Sinzae Reed, joining us remotely. Ms. Reed, how are you doing this morning or this evening? Mrs. Reed, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, there we go. So thank you so much for joining us this evening. We, of course, condolences for everything your family has gone through. What information have you gotten from police or prosecutors about why these charges were dropped against Mr. Butler?
They told me that they could only hold him for 10 days. And with the evidence that they had, that they didn't want it to present it to the grand jury yet, because if the grand jury decided not to convict him, then they couldn't retry him again.
And what additional information are they saying that they need in order to charge him? You know, we have eyewitnesses, we have video of what happened, we saw him flee the scene. You know, what are they articulating that they need?
They said that they're waiting for the autopsy report to come back.
Okay, and have they given you an estimation on that? I know where I practice, often it can take up to 6 months for those autopsy reports to come back. Have they given you any timetable on the issue?
They told me the last time I spoke to someone, she told me it could take 2 or more months. And right now it's been about 3 months. And I haven't spoke to no one since then.
Understood. Now, from what I've read, the community has really rallied around the family. There's a rally plan for this weekend to try to compel law enforcement to charge Mr. Butler in this case. Can you talk a little bit about the rally and the community support you've received?
Okay, so a little bit about the rally. I wasn't really for it, but I was trying to wait for the justice system to do its job. But my son being Black, it's not going to happen. Even if they couldn't charge him with murder right now, he is on probation for domestic violence. So they could have held him for his gun that he's not supposed to have. Also, he was shooting in a school zone. So they should have got him for that. It's a lot of things they could have held him on if they couldn't charge him with murder right now. But he's still out. He's still a free man. We live in the same apartment complex. Well, he got evicted now, but he has family that lives out here. So he's still here. Like, he still comes here. So I need something to be done. Like, there's no way that my son should be dead and he's walking the streets a free man.
Well, so you're saying he's been evicted, but you still see him in the community even after he has committed such a heinous act, and prosecutors and the police have done nothing to stop him?
Nothing. I asked about getting a protection order. They told me that I could not get one until he's convicted.
Wow. And so what groups are sponsoring this rally? Because we want to make sure we provide the community support necessary and reach out to law enforcement and prosecutors to find out, because as you said, I can't see this happening if little Susie was the person dead, where they're still allowing this person not just to be free, but to menace the same area, to potentially intimidate witnesses, to destroy evidence, all the things that you can do when you're out on bond. I think we lost Mrs. Reed, so I'm going to bring our panel in. Oh, sorry, we tell Ms. Reed.
I'm sorry.
All right, can you hear us now, Ms. Reed?
I didn't hear the question, like the phone paused or something.
No problem at all. You know, we're part of that new generation where everything happens over the internet. So just like all these Zoom calls at work. But Is there anything that people need to know about the rally on Sunday? Because we want to make sure that people can provide the community support to ensure that this person is brought to justice. Because I think that it's even more appalling that you still have to see this individual walking the streets and not be in custody awaiting trial.
Yeah, actually, I just seen that on Facebook. He just posted a video of my son again at a shooting range and saying that my son tried to kill him. I told the detective about that because he's been posting the same video for months since October, since he killed.
I think we're working on getting Ms. Reed's connection back established, but I do want to bring the panel in. Rebecca, I want to go to you first on this. Now, have you ever heard of a situation where somebody is accused of murder and then not just released on bond, but allowed to still be around the families of the victims, around the crime scene, posting information on social media, etc.?
I wanted to address the humanity of this. My heart goes out for Miss Reed and her family to have to deal with this, to have to see this person who murdered her child multiple times, like in her home community where she lives, in her apartment complex. I just want to say that. But what's unfortunate is that this happens too often in this country, where we have two systems of justice. We have a system of justice for those who commit crimes who are white, and we have a system of justice for those who commit crimes who are Black, or even those who are other people of color. So it doesn't make sense here. I mean, there's different things that local authorities could do, even with temporary restraining orders. And so to even hear a local law enforcement agency to say there's nothing they could do until a conviction, that simply isn't true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know, she's significantly further along in her journey with Christ than I am, because me seeing somebody who has murdered my child, there's a very good chance that I'll be the person on trial. So the fact that police have not done anything to keep this individual away from the family of the person that he killed is quite it's out there for me. Dr. Carr, I wanted to bring you in on this bring you in for a comment on this, because this is so abhorrent that I'm trying to understand what justification there could be, and should the federal government step in to file hate crimes charges, potentially in this case, or even to enforce the anti-gun restrictions, because under Ohio law, it doesn't stop you from owning a gun if you have a domestic violence conviction, but under federal law, it does. So that would vitiate a investigation or potential prosecution by the federal government.
Well, I mean, with what we know, it almost seems, Robert, and you, Rebecca, would know better than I would, that this is probably the trajectory we're headed on. Let me echo what you said, Rebecca, and offer my condolences as well, and deepest sympathies to Ms. Reed and to her family in the loss of young Sinzae. I lived in Columbus for about 5 years when I was in graduate school and law school, and this is standard practice. Not just in the United States of America, but in Columbus, that would consider itself a liberal city, so to speak. When we see what the Columbus Dispatch reported, and the Franklin County prosecuting attorney, Gary Tyack, his office put out a report and said that it's standard practice for almost every felony case in municipal court to be dismissed. And he said, well, we're going to bring it, but maybe we'll bring it before the grand jury. We won't say any more at this time. Standard practice, huh? This white man is running around in the streets of Southwest Columbus talking smack, posting stuff on social media, and we all heard Ms. Reed say the man he's on probation, and he has a gun he wasn't supposed to have. So I think, Robert, what you've asked is probably already answered through your experience, through Rebecca's experience, and through most attorneys' experiences. I expect it will as well to hear that the federal government's going to get involved in this with the facts that we know so far.
So we have Ms. Reed back. So Lucretia, we're going to come to you afterwards, because you have very specific experience of this and a special level of understanding. So we're going to get the last comment from you. But Ms. Reed, could you tell us about your son? Because often what gets lost in these conversations is the individual. We don't need another hashtag. We don't need another name on a shirt. I want to understand your son as a human being so people can understand the humanity of this case.
My son, he just turned 13. Like, he still had his whole life ahead of him. I'm sorry. for someone to take him. Like, that's my baby. And not have no remorse for it at all. It breaks my heart. Like, every day I gotta wake up and my son is here because some coward took him away from me. And now he's trying to claim it's self-defense. Like, how could you be scared of my little baby? If anything, he could have called the police. He could have did a lot of things. But he chose to shoot my baby and then come back, stop his car, and left him for dead. This is something I would never get over. Like, I gotta live with this for the rest of my life. And the justice system's not even helping me because why? My son's Black.
And of course, all of us, the entire panel, everyone here, we send every bit of support and that we can to you. What message would you give to prosecutors and police who are still dragging their feet on arresting this individual, particularly when he still is in the community, when he still has the opportunity to intimidate or alter evidence, to intimidate witnesses, to destroy videos, etc.? What message would you send to police and prosecutors about getting this man off the street?
I would say that, first of all, I wasn't even notified that Craig was out of jail. So he could have came over here. He could.
I think we're still having some connection issues with Ms. Reed. Lucretia, I wanted to bring you in on this conversation because you have firsthand experience with this. What do you think has to happen for law enforcement to really take seriously the murders of Black boys in this country and start investigating them and clearing those cases, convicting people at the same rates as any other community?
Her name was Mrs. Reed, right? Miss Reed, please don't let your heart get hardened. Please don't let that animosity that you feel right now, don't let it consume your soul. You can't bring your son back. There's nothing you can do about that. Every year it gets a little lighter, but it gets heavier and darker too, ma'am. I'm so sorry any mother or father ever have to deal with that or hear the screaming and the piercing in your soul. You won't forget him. It don't get easier. That burden gets heavier, and you just got to stand until either this go through the justice system. But please, ma'am, don't take this in your own hands. Do not let that animosity harden your heart on mankind. And also, if you want to do anything, you make sure that people know who he was. And then you start within your own community to change what you need to change, ma'am. But I'm telling you, it's 6 years later, and I'm crying because you are. Because I remember that time when even a Black man that killed my son, the police didn't do shit. They didn't do nothing. And I had to sit there and watch this dude throw up gang signs like it was a laughing matter. And what happened to me is my heart went hard for 6 months, and it took so long to get out that darkness. So I'm asking you, it don't get lighter. Have those emotions, have those feelings, and you cry and you get that out there. And when you get stronger, because you will, and you're going to shift your eyes and you're going to shift your path, but you're going to save a whole bunch of people. And if not, you're going to have that empathy and that sympathy for the next mother or father, sister or brother. But I'm telling you, this is an injustice, and I don't care about what's going on the inside. If he's guilty, I hope he burn in hell.
Absolutely. And Ms. Reed, I want to give you the last word. Can you tell people how they can help to support the family and what they can do to contact police, prosecutors, or even community groups to help pressure them to arrest this person?
Just please share his story. Let everyone know what's going on. A lot of people, even where I live at, never knew about my son. Like, they showed it on the news one time when it first happened. After that, it hasn't been talked about ever since. And this happened in October. It's about to be January. Please share his story and get this out, because Craig Butler needs to be in jail.
I will share your son's story. He has a face. He has a mother. He has a family. And now he got us. There's people all over my timeline and watching my show right now, red, yellow, black, and white, saying, get her information, see how we can help her from all over the United States. And they feel you, and I see and feel you. And I just want to put my arms around you and give you the biggest hug. But I will share your son's story. I will make sure it get out. And I will spread the word.
We thank you so much, and we thank all the panelists for the support. You can go search the hashtag Sinzae Reed, SINZAE REED on Twitter. That will help you to get updates on the case when the rallies are taking place, and we, of course, are going to keep you updated on everything in this. Thank you so much for joining us, Ms. Reed. Our thoughts and prayers with you and your family.
All right, folks, back to our Roland Unfiltered video in just one moment. When you talk about blackness and what happens in black culture, we're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it. This is about covering us. Invest in black-owned media. Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks. We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible. Checks and money orders go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland at RolandSMartin.com.